Hard times where when a man has worked a job for 30 years and they give him a watch, kick him in the butt, and say, hey, a computer took your place, daddy. And that's hard times. And this is the exploding barbed wire deathcast brought to you by the Cheap Heat Champions. And so, what's the catch? We got some shit to talk today. And this is a mostly AEW show. In a riveting and equally controversial conclusion to the C2 finals, we have Eddie Kingston and Jon Moxley facing off at World's End for the first Triple Crown cross promotional challenge in a couple decades. Lots of mixed reviews and speculations from the fans about results. Let's see what the panel has to say tonight. Sleazy, tell me how much you hate this tournament.
Oh God, I hate it so much.
All right, let's move on to someone that has a real opinion. LaFioron, let's go.
I think we said last week that Gold League was bangers top to bottom. The triple threat was certainly at a match level, did not disappoint. Absolutely fantastic. I think a few of us were a little bit surprised that it was Mox ultimately winning. But then again, it's Mox. Is it really a surprise? Which in its own right is slightly disappointing. Blue League, I waffled and rambled last week saying that I had preferences, but I couldn't see where it was going. And in a silly sort of way, I'm not happy about being right. I think it was pretty obvious that Eddie was going to qualify for the Blue League, but the booking around that felt a little bit flat in some respects. You know, there was no reason for some of the wins to happen the way they did, but for the most part, it was good. We had some great matches, nowhere near as solid as the Gold League. But given the way the booking went, it was nice to have Kingston finally get his win. And he's been a role recently, getting the big wins from all of his shit in the Indies. He got a win over Claudio, got his win over Danielson finally. He beat Yuta ages ago. Who's left in BCC for him to beat? His best mate. So I'm kind of conflicted. Eddie, Mox, again, potentially with Eddie finally going over. That's a pretty big deal. But by the same token, it almost doesn't feel the finals of the C2 almost weirdly doesn't feel big enough for Kingston to finally go over Mox, especially as Mox is the ace and the final boss of AEW. It's going to be a great match. You know, story beat. What's better, Eddie Kingston beating Mox for his shit, or Eddie Kingston beating Mox to retain his own shit? We'll see. But it's going to be a fantastic match either way. I just think I probably would have preferred it to be Kingston Jay White, if I'm honest. You know, not only for the NJPW throwback, but it keeps Mox and Swerve super fresh at each other. But then, given the way Mox and Swerve were going at it in the triple threat, that's not going away anytime soon, which I think is a good thing, and it would need to be done because Mox is the gatekeeper to the world title. So ultimately, Swerve's going to have to go through Mox to get his world title reign. So that's all ticking over. So plenty to keep us going after World's End is wrapped up. Overall, very nicely done. What about you, hulking Brent? I know you don't like Eddie. What do you think of the final?
Hey, I don't like Eddie, but at least we got winners in each division. The matches up to this point were great. Even the three-way match, versus Moxley, and I mean, it was. I think most of us liked either Jay White or Swerve winning it in the group or whatever. Even though Mox is a good choice, Eddie versus Moxley. I mean, we're gonna have a bleeding tab on how fast they bleed, but you know, uh, I think the Danielson match with Eddie was just as good too. Especially because we're like, um, we some of us thought that match was gonna be last. We thought the three-way match was gonna be last, and then we give it to MJF. So you know, the C2 was good. It helped pump, especially like what Swerve says. It pumps up AEW, one of the best in the year. It really brought a level to AEW in these last couple of weeks. You're like, okay, these dynamites and collisions are fire. Let's keep that rolling into 2024 and start off high. So I believe this pay per view is going to be great with these matches and how it's set up.
Yeah, so last week I said that my excitement kind of died down for this tournament, but I'd be lying if I said I was not super excited for both of the finals yesterday. I felt like I was watching like a football final or something. I was really excited. The triple threat was amazing. I was rooting for Eddie Kingston so much too. So yeah, I'm happy with the results. My overall thoughts on the tournament, it was cool. It was my first time seeing something like this in wrestling, so it was exciting. I think they could improve, and I think they will. There's some things that I would change. Uh, One of the things I would do is not do this right before World's End, because the whole concept of World's End pay per view, even from the name itself, it's like everything is coming to a climax. Like the biggest feuds, like the whole world's going to end at the end of the year. But I feel like this tournament kind of stalled a lot of storylines. I feel like this tournament would be better if it was in January, where the world ends and then AEW kind of has like a soft reboot of sort with the storylines. And I think that would be a better time to do this tournament. Uh, yeah, other than that, I really enjoyed it overall. I'm happy. I'm excited for for the finals in the tournament. We'll see what they do with these champions. Hopefully they do something more meaningful where this tournament will actually have prestige and not just be forgotten about 2 weeks later.
Honestly, I believe that this tournament is something that's going to be carried on through next year. They're going to redux and reinvent and relaunch it within a year's time. But I do want to call it the Eddie haters out there. I'm not talking about anyone specifically. I see you smiling, Brent. Not anyone specifically. I want to call you all out. But for a person that you guys claim needs to be carried through most matches, he actually looked convincing yesterday. And for as much as everyone hates his go-to moves, the spinning back fist, the machine gun chops, if you really looked at Bryan Danielson's chest after that match, it looked like ground beef. He let himself get the shit kicked out of him. It was convincing. I'm really curious to see how this is going to evolve into the pay-per-view. I have to imagine that, John Moxley is, as LaFuron mentioned, the final boss of AEW. Is this going to be the thing? Are they going to allow Eddie Kingston to be put over, knowing that Mox is headed to Japan for an intercontinental title defense? Are they going to let him carry multiple belts? I mean, probability is that we're going to see Eddie Kingston pull a Vader and take the Triple Crown, and it's going to be great. And then he's going to drop those belts one by one, just like FTR about 9 or 10 months ago. But let's stay. We're staying with AEW for most of this conversation. You guys have anything you want to chime in on that, or?
I was just going to quickly add, excuse me, when the C2 first started, me, Wolf, and a couple of other people were shooting the shit on who could possibly win it. And given the fact that it is a Triple Crown for 3 different promotions, okay, yes, AEW and ROH operate together, but plenty of New Japan strong defenses happen actually in Japan. So we were kind of saying, well, who's out of all the participants, who realistically is going to be working multiple shows in potentially even multiple countries? And really, we only came down to Kingston, Mox, Swerve, and possibly Danielson, and and 2 we got going. So I certainly think that they're going to be, regardless of who's winning it, they're going to be hitting this hard. Yes, Mox is going over to have a shot at the IWGP Global Championship, or whatever the bloody hell Osprey's named it now. But also Kingston is working Battle of the Valley after Wrestle Kingdom, which is a New Japan Strong show. So conceivably, either one of them could win and carry multiple belts as the cross-promotional collaboration and advert that it's going to be. So I really cannot call which way this is going to go. It will be great for AEW either which way.
Well, we're gonna discuss that with our prediction game when I make the little chart. We're gonna get some points going.
Hell yeah.
Hey, well, I mean, in terms of just the immediate, what's directly in front of us, I mean, there's a partnership right now between there's a known partnership between New Japan and AEW. Now we have to speculate how the United Japan front is going to affect AEW booking in the future. Now we're talking about multi-promotional talents carrying belts into other promotions. You know, if Mox wins, he's taking that to Wrestle Kingdom. If Eddie Kingston wins, he's taking that to Strong. But how is that going to leak over to the other facets of that United promotion? Not to mention their relationship with Impact, uh, or now TNA, GCW, all the smaller scale guys. This could be a bigger picture for AEW in the long run, but we're gonna pivot off in the shortest title defense in known AEW history. MJF, Maxwell, Jacob Freeman dropped the ROH tag titles to two men in masks who were allowed to break into the title scene for a promotion that was not showcased. Ring of Honor. How does everyone feel about this title change, and why was this allowed? Sleazy, let's go.
Oh God, it was garbage. But I mean, at least it led to more like hints towards the devil stuff, which I still think. Why can't I talk? I still think it's Jungle Boy. But the fact of the matter is, at least it led to more devil stuff. But like at this point, you should just retire the ROH tag titles if you're just putting them on two random masked weirdos.
I mean, in terms of exposition, it actually makes sense building the match for World's End. I mean, now MJF has something tangible to lose. And it's not two random guys. This is the people that have been imposing upon or infringing upon MJF and what we thought was Samoa Joe, Hangman, and Adam Page, the Acclaimed. I mean, there's a lot of implications in them holding that belt. LaFuron, what do you think about this match?
However much I love Eddie Kingston, I would have preferred maybe 5 minutes chopped off Kingston Danielson to actually feed into the ROH drop, the ROH tag drop, because I was watching the clock and going, there's only like 5 minutes of the show left. Is there even going to be a match? Is this going to be another angle again? And I already complained last week about I wanted a bit more meat on the bone of this. So to have this whole thing go down in 5 minutes, my brain was just going insane. It's like, okay, so MJF gets dropped by two masked dudes so easily, where the Righteous and Jay White couldn't get the job done. Yeah, these two guys who, incidentally, was blatantly the outrunners underneath the Black Hoods. That was got into conversation about that on the Crackdown. But not to say the Outrunners are Devil's Goons, but those two guys were filling the spot. But for the whole thing to go down to it's like a 5-minute segment where MJF takes a single heat seeker and then gets pinned. It was like, what? I mean, as if you couldn't shit on the ROH tag titles anymore. The fact that they've been so utterly melvined, to coin a Matt Taven phrase, is just a joke. Whoever is ultimately revealed to be the masked goons, doesn't matter who they are, I can honestly see it being retcons that they are going to be not retcons, but they are going to have the lineage. They're going to unmask. Yeah, we beat MJF, and then they will be acknowledged as the tag team champions. To that end, I hope ultimately it's somebody good, so we can actually get the tag belts back into Ring of Honor, as opposed to being a prop for a bullshit storyline, which for me lost all of its steam about 3 months ago. So it was a bullshit segment. Doesn't actually lead into any more excitement for the pay-per-view main event now, because I mean, the second Joe entered himself into the title scene, he was doing the full-on suited mafia don image. So ultimately, it makes sense that he's basically, he's struck a deal with the devil. He was never on MJF's side. It was always a means to an end. So that in itself doesn't it makes perfect sense, but it just doesn't grab me. It honestly doesn't grab me. I didn't like the way Joe even got introduced into this recently with the prison bitch thing, which is unnecessary. Now Max has got taken out by a heat seeker. Joe's doing the whole "I did this to you." Well, no, you didn't. Really, you actually made a deal with whoever is pulling the strings to serve your own agenda. MJF Joe will be an absolutely banger match, so we have that to look forward to. But it's very rare that I've just gone and been de-sold a match based on an angle. So disappointed. Hopefully this whole devil thing gets done and dusted in a way that leads on to bigger and better things, because it's outstaying its welcome as far as I'm concerned. But that's just me.
Well, didn't you notice while they were wrestling that his name just happens to be Calvin Klein? His mother sewed his name on his underwear again. I mean, this happens in history from Back to the Future and so on. So I'm gonna have to look and see who in AEW wears Calvin Klein underwear, and I'm pretty sure Matt Taven wears Calvin Klein underwear when he has his shirt off all the time. It's always pulled up like up to his nipples. But it's funny because even Shane mentioned like, yeah, it's like WCW back in the days. They used to have like a title match, like the last 3 minutes of like a a Nitro or whatever, and you're like, why did we have this match with 3 minutes left in this show? Like, it just, you're like, okay, we're gonna let it run 10 minutes over, but it didn't. It's over within 2 minutes of running over, and it was better off them not winning it, to me. And then Joe just gets angry, like, no, we need a rematch, blah blah, blah blah blah, pay-per-view. And then Joe attacks MJF at the pay-per-view for the 0 hour. The 0 hour would have been better to have this match at, to build up your anticipation for the pay-per-view, kind of like the last one was. Let's build it up, get it running. Let's see who it is. But I don't know who it's going to be. I mean, we can make predictions all day. It's Adam Cole. It's whatever. It's Tony Khan. It's CM Punk. Joking. I'll throw it out there and last. I'll be done.
So I'm on the West Coast. I watch the East Coast feed. So my show goes from 5 to 7. And the funniest thing is at 6:59, Justin Roberts says, the following contest has a 60-minute time limit. I'm like, come on now. There's no way that's, come on. Don't make me feel stupid. Yeah, this segment I was actually really excited for this segment, and it felt a little flat. I think it would have been better if it was in the middle of the show and not at the very end. Because yeah, I don't know if they like mistimed it or what happened, but yeah, it was really weird how they did it. Yeah, MJF looks pretty weak, even though he's banged up. He still looks pretty weak, losing to the janitor and the custodian or whoever beat him. We don't know. I do like the segment of Joe turning on him, because I think the crowd was really into it, and it actually closed a lot of possibilities. It removed a lot of suspects from my personal list, at least. We know that Joe's been working with the devil from the beginning, and for the past couple months, Adam Cole kept telling MJF, like, you need Joe as your partner. You need Joe as your partner. I still believe Wardlow's the big guy from all the evidence that we've seen, and I do think even strongly now that the other three are the Kingdom. So, yeah, so MJF obviously is no longer the devil, because he was at the top of my suspect list, but yesterday kind of took him off, and with everyone else that I think is in this group, Jack Perry doesn't make sense either. So, yeah, I hope we'll finally see the resolution, like you said, LeFron. I hope we see the resolution to this at World's End, because it's I'm still very invested. I'm very interested, but how many more twists do we need? Like, it's time to wrap it up and move on to part 2 of whatever this leads to.
Are we going to get a full Kaiser Soze moment where MJF, beaten, battered, bloody after losing everything, is seen limping off backstage to lick his wounds, and then suddenly the limp just goes away and he's walking perfectly fine. Dun dun dun, come back in the new year. Who knows where this is going?
I mean, no one has ever spoken on the idea that this could be both Adam Cole and MJF. You know,
I've
But-
mentioned that before, like the Scream thing.
yeah. I mean, most likely, my wild guess right now is that due to the Joe Devil partnership, that it's more likely that it's Adam Cole at the moment. Right now, every arrow is pointing in that direction, which would be a horribly kept secret from Tony Khan to AEW fans. And kind of like, you could have done something a little cooler. It feels like a little bit of this reveal is going to be contrived. It's where we're at this point. It's coming at World's End, so we're going to know what's going on. They're promoting the merch. Now we have masked men holding belts. But that kind of spins us into the next topic. In a stunning turn of events, we've learned that Samoa Joe himself is working with the Devil. Was this a power play to weaken Max to his title defense? Are they secretly working together? And is this an indicator of who might actually be under the mask themselves? My money is still on Cole. Sleazy, what do you got on this?
I mean, my money is still on Jungle Boy, but as for every other scenario for Samoa Joe, I have no clue. But he's not the devil. It's probably Jungle Boy.
But what does Jungle Boy have to gain from going after anyone in this situation other than MJF? I mean, it could have been Jungle Boy ripped the Band-Aid off a month ago.
I mean, he'll probably have something to benefit from all this, specifically becoming the next AEW World Champion and holding it for the rest of time.
Fair enough. LaFearon, what do you think?
Although I don't think it's Jungle Boy, nor do I want to see Jack Perry anywhere near my fucking TV anymore, for reasons discussed elsewhere. I will support that notion as part of a bigger one. I'll also point out something that Dreezy raised last week with Wardlow's promo saying, "We are coming for you, Max. We." Now, Jungle Boy actually as the devil. If you take the devil as meaning, the ringleader, the guy in charge of all of this, maybe not. But doing a Scream thing where there's multiple devils, or having the devil mask being part of a larger ideology, would lead into Jungle Boy being involved if you assemble a faction of those who have been wronged by MJF in the biggest way. That would make sense if Jungle Boy was involved, because there is a big laundry list of people MJF has bent over and non-looped over the years. Why wouldn't they all gang up? And as Volkner said last week, which is a nice thing to consider, with World's End being a play on words, that it is truly MJF's end of the world, then everyone he's ever hurt all gang up on him, all get involved in this devil ideology. There are multiple devils. There's more than 4 goons. It's everyone all gunning for him to completely strip him of everything and anything that means anything to him. And Cole would potentially be a problem. It would actually be included in that. Or ultimately, Cole could actually be the shining light. The only thing MJF doesn't lose is his friend. It could, there's enough intrigue in this. It could go multiple ways. Jungle Boy could be a factor. If everyone's ganging up MJF, it could be MJF all along. It could be, as originally portrayed, it is Cole, weakening MJF so he can get his what he believes another shot at the title that he thinks he deserves. Regardless of who the devil is, this is just a business transaction for Joe. Always has been. Ever since he threw his hat in the ring, he's going to do whatever he feels he needs to do to get the world title. And if that's, a business transaction with the devil to take him out, that's perfectly fine, because it's Samoa Joe, who does Samoa Joe have to fear? I saw something, I can't remember, I think it was either on Reddit or a different Discord server. Somebody said, oh, isn't it going to be completely counterproductive for Joe to empower the devil in this way? Weaken him everything because he's just making himself a target. I'm like, it's Samoa Joe. He doesn't fear anyone. And also, would you really want to mess with Samoa Joe? Let's be honest. So it's purely business transaction for Joe. Makes perfect sense, regardless of who the devil is. And that bit's been pretty cool. Brent.
Well, I think I already predicted that it's probably just Adam Cole at this point. You know, an off wild throw would be like Tony Khan just pulling the strings, and almost everybody in the AEW rosters is henchmen.
Yeah, I've already mentioned my prediction, so yeah, I'm pretty firm in my beliefs, at least until tomorrow or whenever. Actually, no, yeah, we've had all the shows basically until the pay-per-view. So yeah, on our little game, we're gonna have some points if we guess right who the goons are, who the devil is, stuff like that. So I'm excited. I just hope we find this out because I don't know. I'm just excited to find out. I hope it doesn't drag out too long.
I may imagine they throw the curveball and it's like Bret Hart, or as Wolf so eloquently put in our chat, the Devil's Ric Flair and the Henchmen are the new Four Horsemen. Yeah, it's Tessa Blanchard, Brock Anderson, and the Kingdom. You know,
Brock
it's,
Anderson.
it's the ghost of the Von Erich boys, the ghost of Von Erich boys. Sorry, too soon. Yeah, that movie was absolutely heartbreaking, by the way. That's a pod for next week. Yeah, we have talked about this ad nauseum. We're gonna kind of switch directions. This is a fun topic, outspoken topic, and a shitty topic, all wrapped into one bullshit statement. So Chris Jericho versus Stephen P. New. It took place on social media over the weekend. Now we've talked about Punk drama ad nauseum. For those of you that don't know, the second name, Stephen P. New, is the lawyer and confidant of one Jim Cornette and also the legal counsel that helped CM Punk get out of his AEW contract. During the holiday, Stephen P. New decided to blast details about the case on the internet, claiming that everyone involved had NDAs, and Jericho took to X to speak on his NDA that he never signed. Who knows, that he's allowed to talk about the brawl altercation. Does Jericho need to read his employee handbook, or is this a case of a carny lawyer spinning the web of bullshits in favor of his clients to benefit the Fed? Sleazy, are you following what's going on with this, or do you not care?
I'm following the FTW title more than this, so move on to LaFern.
Okay, fair enough.
Oh, blinding light as that thing kicks back. Come on, Phil Light, thank you. I'm ugly enough as it is. I tell you what. I'm almost thinking the work is back on, if the work had ever stopped, because it just continues to be so comic book and ludicrous and over the top as it's been for the past 16 months, and now it's going silly once again. It's like, and also, without going too far into it, the some of the story beats, which have been hypothesized were a part of Brawl Out being a work, are certainly still continuing, namely the Bucks being selfish, childish pricks, because everything that Stephen Yu has come out with just seemingly supports that stuff. I mean, what's he? So what's he done? He comes out, he literally shows up out of nowhere. It's like nobody really cares anymore, but he comes up out of nowhere to then throw his stuff in, claiming that he got Punk and Steel out of their contracts because of a toxic workplace, which confirms what Punk had said previously about the Bucks refusing to participate in the mediation. And then Dana Massey, Matt's wife, is reported then not renewing her contract in head of merchandising on the grounds that she felt her husband and her brother-in-law were not given the opportunity to defend themselves because of the NDAs. Okay, but then they drop a bombshell that apparently somehow Punk went after her as well. So that's why she's included with the NDAs, and she's pissed that she can't defend herself. It's like, what? Okay. And then, in the face of all the anti-AEW sentiment that's ramped up ever since Punk signed with the Wii, the Bucks are mysteriously absent from everything. They're not on TV. They're not doing backstage responsibilities. They pull out of BTE and seemingly taking their family with them as they mumble about retirement. Okay. Then it's suggested that New and Ace Steel's wife are not under NDA, so they're going to spill the beans. Which point Jericho then gets involved and says, "Oh, I'm not under NDA either." And then it suddenly transpires that he was in the room all along. Eh? What?
No, wasn't it? The funny thing is that according to the original story told, wasn't Jericho in conference during the altercation? Then he got up, stepped out, ran back to Tony Khan. Something needed to be dealt with, and
Yeah,
that's where everything kind of converged.
Jericho whispered very quietly, but just enough for open mics to pick up at the media scrum. Something's happening backstage. It's like that wasn't very clandestine, Chris. But I'm not going down that rabbit hole on this stream. But then suddenly, as I said, it suddenly then transpires that Jericho was in the room all along, which is a new addition to the story, and what he saw was disgusting, but not actually hinting or alluding to who or what disgusted him. He just found the whole thing disgusting. So if you take a step back and then sort of take a lot of the anti-Punk sentiment out of the equation, it's now swinging back in favor that the Bucks were pricks in all of this, which is exactly what Punk accused them of being 16 months ago, exactly what Callis accused them of being when he turned on Kelly, exactly what Kenny accused them of being when the Golden Jets formed, exactly what Jericho had reaffirmed, and now the Bucks themselves have been shown to be bitchy little children ever since they refused to shake hands at All in London. Pro wrestling is a crazy world, and it's either the most outlandish stuff is always real, or the work is back on to try and milk something. Because it just doesn't make sense any other way. I mean, Stephen Yu, such a carny fucking lawyer. I mean, I've saw arguments on some subreddits where actual lawyers have been going in and saying everything that Stephen P. New is doing is just complete nonsense and could actually land him in hot water. So it's like, yeah, it's madness. It's madness. I'm trying not to get back into the whole Brawl Out was a work thing because that took so much of my life. But you look at this and it's like, this is so much nonsense. It's fueling back into it. It really is. But carnies are going to carny. Everyone is always going to make a work out of something if they can work something. So,
and we're all marks, right?
Well, by design, that's the whole fucking point.
I know. Brent, what do you got? Anything on this one, my guy?
The thing with Jericho, I was following a little bit of it, but to get into the whole Young Bucks CM Punk thing again would just it goes a little far because it's like, okay, if you help start a company and a guy was coming in and threatening your company, you're going to be overprotective of your company that you helped start. And so I think they had every right, if that's the case, in that sense of form. And this thing with Jericho is just it's wrestling. It's a storyline. Maybe this brings back the Bucks here in January or something. Jericho and Sammy versus the Young Bucks would probably be better. Though you're not going to have Kenny there probably. I don't know. I like Jericho. Jericho is sensical, but then they commented today that he he commented on CM Punk's or WWE's CM Punk like entrance video or something the other night. So I mean, he's being positive. He's probably not. He was probably told to calm it down on Twitter. By the way, but who cares?
I'll
It's
get
wrestling.
fined by Danielson.
It's wrestling. It's not real. Not everything is real in wrestling, and I think we just need to get past the whole brawl out thing, whether it's true or false.
Well, we would do, but everyone else keeps bringing it up. This is why. I can't shake the feeling that we're back. We're back in on the work. There's no reason to bring it all up again. There's no reason for Stephen Yu to utter a single word. But carnies are going to carny.
I have a pretty spicy hot take on the AEW drama, and I'm going to quote none other than Booker T. Save the drama for your mama, because there's a pay-per-view coming up that I'm really excited about called World's End on Saturday, and I can't wait to see it. And that's what I think about the drama.
Yo, I'm so hyped for that FTW 0 Hour match.
I bet you are. It's gonna. Is it?
Is it actually on 0 Hour?
Yeah.
I mean, it's a hook match. It's going to be the last match on 0 Hour. He always is. It's like catching Orange Cassidy in a title bout at the beginning of a Dynamite once a month. Hook is always going to headline 0 Hour. That's a thing.
He's the Steven Richards of AEW, because Steven Richards was always in the main event of Heat before every pay-per-view.
Oh, dear God.
Respect to Stevie Richards.
Oh, dear God, too soon. Guys, it looks like you guys are all sick of talking about Brawl and Brawl Out, unless you guys have any other closing comments on this conversation.
Move it along.
Let's move it along. So as it is the week prior to a pay-per-view, it was expected that this would be a predominantly AEW heavy episode of the podcast. We'll keep this segment short. The World's End is on Saturday. Who's excited for what match? I'm pumped on seeing whether or not they're going to close the book on Swerve Strickland and Keith Lee and where they're both going to be headed next. I believe Keith Lee is a very heavily slept on talent, as well as Swerve Strickland, who's gone over, but he's been jobbed out a little bit this in the past couple of weeks. So I'd like to see what direction they're going to shoot him out to. Sleazy, we already know your hook, but go ahead. Let's talk about that really quick.
Yeah, I'm very excited for the FTW Championship match on 0 Hour. Good old-fashioned clash between Extreme Wrestling and Pure Wrestling. You got the champion of Pure versus the champion of Extreme and bull crap like that. Can Wheeler Yuta really handle Extreme FTW rule style match? Or will Hook have to handle all that Pure Wrestling with more than 6 moves? Or will Jungle Boy come in with a steel chair and take back what's rightfully his? I'm so excited.
Is Wheeler Yuta pure? That's a topic of conversation. Didn't he cheat to win his title? Does that make him an actual pure champion? Sleazy. There we go. Sleazy.
Yeah.
Don't you think he might be more suited to hold a belt like the FTW, as Hook has held it and hasn't defended it for months and months and months and months, as that title stagnates under his family name?
Only if he respects it by having extreme matches every time he defends it and never retires it. So, like, every time he defends it, either have an FTW match, a hardcore match, a Texas Tornado death match, a death match, a blood and guts match, or, my personal favorite, the exploding barbed wire death match where we actually blow up the ring.
Always appreciating Sleazy's hot takes on all things concerning Griff Garrison and the FTW Championship.
Who the fuck is Griff Garrison?
Yeah.
Who the fuck is Griff Garrison? Looking forward to that match, same as you, brother. LaFuron, what match are you? What are you most pumped on?
Pumped definitely on Moxheady. That's going to be great. Despite my whinging earlier, I think MJF Samoa Joe is going to be great. I'm actually intrigued to see where Hook Yuta goes, if I'm honest, because I've long discussed and fantasy booked a program for the pure title between Hook and Shibata, as a bit of character development for our gorgeous FDW champion. But I think more can come from Yuta Hook, and I think it will actually be a very good match. So I'm looking forward to that one and the potential it brings. The card all round is solid. It always is, but there's a few spicy ones there. A few spicy ones. Hopefully, sorry, I just forgot. Hopefully, I think we all, even though we all want to see just closure on Swerve Keith Lee, I have a sneaking suspicion. I don't know why. I have a sneaking suspicion that Shane Taylor Enterprises is going to get involved in some way, because the final battle match between Keith and Taylor didn't feel to be enough of a blow off for me, especially Shane Taylor's promotion saying, "Oh well, we didn't, the night didn't go the way we wanted it to, but we're fired up and we're pumping." I don't know. I just a bit of a tingle that we might see a bit of Shane Taylor Enterprises involved in that one, but as long as it's put to a point where Swerve can then move on to his championship shot in the future, it'd be all good.
Hey, I think the sleeper match that nobody's really thinking of is the Miro versus Andrade. And I sure hope this is kind of like later in the pay-per-view, not like one of the first matches. And I hope it goes well. I'm surprised they didn't try to add a women's Royal Rumble type match for this pay-per-view, since they added that men's 20-man match. You only have 2 women matches here for the 2 titles. We could have used more of the other AEW women and ROH women, and you could have actually brought in Athena into that match. Now, I guess if you put her in that match, then she's gonna win it. But if you were to do some extra matches in this, besides that thrown together C2 8-man tag, throw in a women's royal match, and let's make it a great pay-per-view.
AEW never disappoints, or very rarely disappoints with the matches, so I'm excited for all the matches. There's not really one that I would take off, except I'm gonna piss some people off, but maybe get rid of the Hook and Wheeler Yuta match, because they don't need to be on the pay-per-view. I would rather see someone like Hangman or Jay White get a match on the show instead of those two, but it's okay. I mean, it's not a problem. The Hangman and then Jay White get plenty of pay-per-view matches, so it's okay to give the newer guys some spotlight, I guess. Also, on that note, I'm really happy to see Abaddon on the show, and I'm sure many people would argue that she shouldn't be on a pay-per-view either, but I'm happy that this is her first pay-per-view, I believe. Yeah, I'm mostly excited about the storyline developments and see where obviously the Devil goes, the Keith Lee stuff, the Swerve stuff, where the C2 final goes. Yeah, I'm really excited about the storyline progression that we're going to see at the pay-per-view.
I'm putting the comments from one of our best contributors up on the screen. The FTW match should have been on TV this week. Sorry, Sleazy, we're not trying to fire cheap shots at you. No international title match is glaring, as in it is an issue. And I have to agree with that. What is happening with the international championship, and why isn't Orange Cassidy defending it normally?
Well, we still have Rampage to go.
Yeah, I think they'll add 1 or 2 matches still.
Yeah, I mean, Orange is in a trios match. I mean,
Yeah.
Are they headed in the direction of an international title or a defense, or a trios title defense?
Not sure. Yeah, there are a lot of, actually, now that I think of it, House of Black are not on the show, FTR are not on the show, Penta is not on the show. There are a lot of big names that are not on the card. So maybe I would shuffle the card a little bit.
Excuse me, guys. My house is a zoo, and I'm trying to squeeze dinner in as well. If you guys can't see me on camera, I thought I paused it. Yeah. I think that FTR House of Black. This is something that Rollins had brought up before. Why aren't they pushing the the FTR House of Black feud? To me, it's still a bun that needs more time in the oven. A lot of the matches that we're getting for this pay per view are things that have been cooking for 3 to 6 months. It's nice to see them finally put a lid after saying after Wrestle Dream that we're coming into a new era. We're kind of looking at some matches that looks like it might actually put an end to some storylines. They are doing the women a disservice here in this pay per view. I'm also going to throw that out there. I would believe that, aside from the 2 title defenses, that we might have gotten something up and coming, some returns, some new talent, some new blood, some reveals, something to allude to the fact that they're doing something different. Instead, it seems like we're getting a couple women's squash matches. I honestly don't think that Rio is going to go over Tony Storm, although I'd like to see it happen. And Abaddon, Dreezy, she has improved exponentially since her inception and her wealth of dark matches. It's wonderful to see her on main programming, but I don't think I honestly, I'm going to say the bold statement. Not that I don't think she's capable of winning. Not that I don't think she's capable of a push. I don't think that Tony Khan has the balls to pull the trigger on putting a belt on her. I don't.
Not anytime soon, but maybe one day. We'll see how this goes. I'm a little nervous because I'm afraid she's just going to be off TV for a year again after this match. I hope she continues to come back and build up.
Yeah. I would like to hope so. But we got one more topic to discuss this evening. This is related to AEW programming, but also away from AEW programming. We have Danielson cut a promo, the promo of promos for New Japan for his Wrestle Kingdom match with Okada over this week, turning a real life injury into an angle. He vows for retribution against Okada by breaking Okada's arm during Wrestle Kingdom. During that bout, with Okada seemingly in talks with 4 other major promotions. Is this being used as an exit strategy for Okada to get him off at New Japan Television? Where is he headed? Or is Okada about to smash Danielson into the 3v3? Sleazy, let's see what you got on this one, bud.
I honestly got nothing because I had no clue this was happening.
Fair. Fear, hit us with your best shot.
I did actually make a start watching Danielson's interview for New Japan, but ended up getting sidetracked, unfortunately. So I wasn't aware that he'd gone talking hot shit, going for the revenge route until earlier on. I would like their match to incorporate that storytelling, and I think it will. Whether it serves a bigger purpose than just hyping up a match remains to be seen. It could do. It'd be great if it does, but everyone, you'll get 2 people shit talking before they have their fight. It'll be brilliant. Okada's still doing. Okada's booked for Battle of the Valley. So hopefully they're not gonna break his arm because he then won't show up for the San Jose event. But it will definitely factor into the storytelling, I think, and it will be a lot of fun. And I think it would be nice actually to see Danielson go over, just to keep that going. He's only got a year left in him, as he said. So to go from "I beat you with a broken arm" to "I definitely beat you with 2 fully working arms. What else have you got?" and build up to some big crazy blow off a bit later on when Okada's doing his tours, or even a part of TNA if it goes that way. Seeds for the future, but we'll see what happens.
When is Wrestle Kingdom?
January 4th.
Okay.
At
so
3 o'clock in the morning.
It's coming up in about a week. So I was going to say Danielson needs to watch his mouth, because if he's going to break anyone's arm, most likely it's going to be his own, because he is so fragile lately. I'm worried. I want him to be, I want to just put him into a box and bubble wrap just to keep him there until All In, so he can actually attend and perform on that show. Yeah, I don't really know what's going on with him and Okada much. But yeah, hopefully no one gets injured for real. They can do a storyline if they want, but I don't want any real injuries.
So I have speculations about where Okada is going to land now that that Tanahashi is the we don't, is this kayfabe or is this real? Is he the acting president of New Japan Pro Wrestling leader? Is he actually leading talent relations? Is that what Tanahashi's new role is in the organization?
Well,
Furon?
it'd be a logical step up because he was director of NJPW Strong, so
Yeah.
it's got some credibility to it being legit.
So the Ace and Tanahashi work hand in hand. It's very probable to believe that Okada isn't going anywhere. And if he's going somewhere, it's going to be somewhere where he could continue to work his partnership with New Japan and Tanahashi. I mean, so TNA seems like it could be a probable landing spot, but AEW is looking a lot hotter now. I wouldn't just say that AEW would be the landing space as he's fighting Bryan Danielson. I would more bet that that he's going to stay with New Japan. It would make more sense for him in his career path. He still has the freedom to travel, work as he wants to, come over to the continent, similar to his run in Ring of Honor in 2015, 16, and 17. You know, that's very close to that. So, you guys have anything else on this one?
Yeah, just a quick one. I think we've discussed it in the channel before, but this, but with the conglomerate, with all the 8 Japanese companies that we discussed last week, and now Tanahashi seemingly being big cheese in NJPW, it honestly feels what I've been suggesting for a while, that Okada will end up having a joint contract between NJPW and AEW. It just seems to be more logical now. Nobody's going to want to see Okada make a move to WWE. I mean, if the guy wants to do that, then don't force him to not do that. You know, I think he's more than earned his own career choices. But I can see the sentiment being, we don't want Okada going to WWE. So NGPW and AEW split the bill. He does like 4 or 5 month tours in NJPW, does a 4 or 5 month tour in AEW, which then leaves him 4 to 5 months to pursue his indie aspirations and his world tour. Just mix and match, and everyone gets a slice of the Okada pie. I don't see him going fully to AEW, especially if Kenny's on the shelf, and the Bucks may well be. Well, if there's any credence to the Bucks nonsense, then if they're bowing out, then Okada's not going to have his friends and family in AEW. So I can see the allure being significantly lessened to be AEW exclusive. But yeah, definitely I can see a 50-50 deal coming, with Tanahashi doing everything he can to keep Okada involved in NJPW in some way. And then everyone gets a slice. It's brilliant.
I mean, the partnership between these promotions is very exciting in terms of potential fantasy booking, but also what we could actually see in some of these programmings. We had Sleazy drop off, guys. Hopefully he's going to dive back in. I'm assuming technical difficulties, but with that, we're going to roll into the final portion of the show. We're talking the roll up. I don't have very much today. You know, for the roll up, we typically open up conversations with the panel to see if there's anything that we missed in terms of things we want to discuss. Being that we're bouncing back from a major holiday and in between pay-per-views, there wasn't a lot of landmark news this week. We'll be doing a detailed World's End pod here on the channel on Saturday afternoon. Feel free to dive in and share any thoughts or predictions that you might have for the event. We also have our Discord in the description if you are looking for a slice of the internet to talk all things pro wrestling and general shit talk and nerddom. Fioran, what do you got? What do you want to talk about?
I think probably I would counter what Wolf said in the comments earlier about the international so far being not on the World's End card, being conspicuous by its absence. I personally would argue just once, I don't think it's needed to be on there. Just there's plenty else going on to let it breathe. Than just cramming in another international defense purely because Orange Cassidy pops a rating. I mean, taking my big bugbear with how the international title's been presented anyway. Take that out of the equation. I don't think it's a loss at this point for it to just not be on a pay-per-view just for once. We'll see what happens on Rampage. It may well get slotted in, but unless Orange goes full on Gollum Precious, like he seemingly was hinted at doing when he went to face Moxley to recapture the thing, it'd be okay. Not showing up for a paper. You got anything to add, Brent? Anything to get off your chest?
Was there a question? I can't remember.
No, just open forum. Anything
I
you
was
want to close
zoning
out
off.
with?
LaFearon puts me to sleep every time, unfortunately. I think it's his whispering. He has to whisper. He said it's
Jesus
late
Christ.
at night over there. People are sleeping. Can't speak too loud. Because
I
I'm sure
thought
he's a shouter like us.
I thought I was the heel here. Jesus, Brent. For
You're
fuck's
far
sake.
from a
This is
heel.
This is
man.
the poor man's last podcast for potentially
I'm
months and
not
months.
ripping on him. I'm
He just
talking
hit him in the
because he
back
has
with
to
a chair
whisper.
right there.
I'm not ripping on him.
He
I'm
has
just
to
completely
whisper
shitting
because
on his
it's late at night.
credibility.
No, I'm
There's
not.
so many trap nerves in my neck. I can't feel the
You
knife
just
going
think
in.
I'm
It's fine.
attacking him. I know that he has to whisper because it's like 4:00 in the morning over there.
Jesus. Yeah, fair enough.
Dear
Go
God,
on.
I say add a women's royal match to this pay-per-view and
Yeah.
make it for the women's title coming up whenever their next premium live event or pay-per-view, whatever the hell you want to call them, because we don't know what to call them nowadays, I guess. I think it's going to be, I think they're going to have a January or February one before Revolution. The way it's been going, there's been one every month since uh, DON, right?
Yeah.
It was like DON, and it was Forbidden Door, and then it was like some other. There was a random pay-per-view before All In, or was there a month in between? I don't know. It was late June, so it was like All In at the end of August, and we had All Out, and then we had Wrestle Dream, Full Gear, and this. So I mean, I expect there's going to be one in between Revolution at least. So maybe a Valentine's Day Massacre pay-per-view.
I think the one you're thinking about is Royal Rumble there, bud. Oh wait, wrong.
Oh
Wrong
wait, we're talking
wrong
about
promotion.
AEW, man. I ain't gonna be watching Wrestle Kingdom till like maybe it's on a website for free, but you know.
I gave you my New Japan credentials.
I never signed in.
Jeez. By all means. They're still
I'm
there.
not downloading an app on my TV to watch their crap.
It's not crap, dude. New Japan is sweet, man.
There's
Take
like
it-
maybe 1 in 10 matches that's good, like half the time.
Dude, heel of the year right there, Brent. Just
hey,
taking
listen,
shots at everybody.
Hey man, listen,
I
I'll
think
take
I
a
know who
chair
the
shot.
fucking devil is.
Dre, bring us home with something positive. Feels like we really need that right now.
Okay, I don't know if I can do positive. We'll see. I have a good one, but so this weekend I saw the Iron Claws. I'm sure many of you have. I'm not gonna talk too much about it. I'm just gonna say if you're a wrestling fan, this is a must see, and if you're not a wrestling fan, I think that you will really like this too. I saw it with my parents who don't know anything about wrestling, who don't like wrestling, but they love the movie because the acting's great. It's about the Von Erich tragedy, and this actually made me think of some of the wrestlers that we lost in 2023. We're coming to an end of the year, and I just want to remember a few of them, like Bray Wyatt, Terry Funk, Jay Briscoe, Iron Sheik, Lenny Poffo. I'm probably forgetting a couple. I don't really have a list or anything. It's just off the top of my head. But
Superstar Billy Graham, bud.
Billy Graham, that's one. Yeah. So just all legends in their own right, and gone but not forgotten. So that's my message for tonight.
Heroes get remembered, legends never die. I want to thank the people that showed up today. LaFearon, it's always a pleasure to have you here when you're able to join us. Until next time, I'm sure there's another platform we'll see on in a couple months. Hulk and Brent, love you, brother. Thank you for being such a heel piece of shit. We need that balance to Andre's beautiful, beautiful life perspective and how the sunshine and rainbows he always is. And I myself, Shane D, are glad that you guys all came to this thing today. If you would like to join us here on the channel, come and visit us. We're here on YouTube Live 2 times a week, Tuesdays and Thursdays. We'll be picking the ball back up and running it with the consistency. Next Tuesday, we're doing our World's End prediction in the middle of the day. On Saturday, we'll have the links here on YouTube and on our Discord, which is down in the description. With that, I want to thank you for joining us. The community wishes you guys a happy new year and good luck to MJF at World's End. Sayonara, folks.